The Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. Is your agency or company looking for helicopter training? Or maybe someone to come audit your program? How about a standardization and safety check? Or maybe just an annual FAA refresher? Look no further, because SR3 Rescue Concepts has what you need. They are here to help your program succeed, to keep you up to date with the current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. The training staff is top-notch, with certified flight instructor pilots and experienced crewmen that can provide training in rescue, tactical, and firefighting operations, as well as night vision goggle use and more. As part of the Petzl Technical Partner Program, they can also provide personal protective equipment inspection courses and training on the highly specific Lazard, made specifically by Petzl for helicopter use for cliff rescue operations. Another great advantage of SR3 Rescue Concepts is they go beyond the helicopter world. They have training programs for high-angle mountain rescue and their tactical medicine training program, which is structured around fundamental training for tactical combat casualty care and tactical emergency casualty care. To top it all off, they offer a safety audit program, a third-party review, fact-based and unbiased, to ensure any operation is functioning as safely and efficiently as possible. Contact them today at sr3rescueconcepts.com. Again, that's sr3rescueconcepts.com. And over on Instagram at sr3_rescue. That's on Instagram at sr3_rescue. You just make sure when you send them a message, you tell them, Quinny sent me here, and they will certainly take good care of you. Had a great conversation with my man, Brett Bates, who's coming up next. And the greatest part about it is he took time out of his day. He was on duty with the fire department. Sat down with me, talked about some of his rescues and what he's been doing. And right after him and I got off the phone, he sends me a text message. And he's like, dude, you're not going to believe what happened to me. 2 boats in distress, Coast Guard helicopter overhead, rescued 4 people out of the water and handed them off to the Coast Guard. And I kid you not, that was literally right after our interview. So, Brett, again, well done. For everybody else, enjoy the interview with Mr. Brett Bates, Rescue Swimmer 760. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the podcast, to the Real ResQ, Mr. Brett Bates, Rescue Swimmer number 760. What's up, Brett?
What's going on, Jason?
How you doing? You look good.
Thanks. You too. Excited.
Trying to keep up with you, man. You're younger than I am, better looking, whatever.
It's not a very high bar, but
oh damn, whatever. That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on to the Real ResQ podcast with me, man. I certainly appreciate it. So,
absolutely.
For everybody out there, please do me a favor, kind of tell everybody who you are and where you come from, and kind of a little bit about your career and where you're at now.
Yeah. So started originally from California. It's where I came from, both north and south. Joined the Coast Guard age 18 back in 2007. Straight up to Sitka, Alaska at the air station there as a non-rate airman program, school in 08. And first unit out of Rescue Swimmer School was Sitka, Alaska, followed by Houston, Texas, with a short stint after that of EMT instructor in Petaluma, and separated after 8 years. And now working as a fireman in the Bay Area, Northern California. That's me in a nutshell.
Sweet. I like that. That's good stuff. I was actually thinking about it not too long ago. The last time you and I hung out, I couldn't remember. It was either like you and your wife met me and my wife and we went out to Mexican, or It was the day I passed my paramedic test because you were there for that.
Or was that the same day that you pinned me my second class crows in a bar because I missed my pinning ceremony at the training center?
You know what? It might have been both.
That might have been the same day you passed.
Oh, that's sick. That's right. Dude,
I
that's
got that
awesome.
picture somewhere. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, definitely. Please do. I remember that well. That was over a beer. I love that.
Yep.
Dude, sick. And then to go even further with a little bit of our history, because we met when we were down in, let's see, you were in Houston and I was working down in the Gulf of Mexico in Galveston. We knew Kurt Revels together. You came on and worked with P1 for a little bit. And next thing you know, you and I are wakeboarding together up by your house in between when I'm coming in and leaving duty. I'm like, oh, I got an extra day. I'll stay with you, Brett. Can I stay with you?
That was it. You were staying with me and we were taking the boat out on the water.
Dude, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Come back, smoke a couple stogies, and next thing you know, I'm leaving on an airplane. And I think the greatest idea about that entire house is actually building the rock climbing wall in the living room. I know Leanne would have gone
the massive living room wall that we could have scaled. Yeah.
No, I would have.
I don't know how that would have gone for the resale value, but
whatever. At the time it would have been awesome. But anyway. Well, I'll tell you what, Brett, something that I want to ask you is one, let's start with this. And how did you get into search and rescue? Like what brought you to search and rescue?
For me, I mean, I had the swimming background, so that was kind of a given that I wanted to use that. I had explored a lot of options from the age 16 on. But one thing that was really one of the big things that drove me to the Coast Guard is, that was the height of our wars in the US, both Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's kind of a hard pill to swallow to want to do something, but no, you might end up at war. Right. So Talking to a few friends, my brother was in the military. He was in the Army at that time. He drove me towards the Coast Guard. And like my generation of swimmers, it was after the movie came out. Right. So we got to see that part of it.
Wait, the movie we're referring to is yes,
we all know
Guardian. I gotta we love that
movie. So obviously it sparked my interest. Knew with the swimming background to be something I'd want to give a shot at. A recruiter laughed me out of the office, like I'm pretty sure most of us got, or they used that as a bargaining chip and said, sure, I'll send you to school, So but it was 18 years old. I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about being an EMT, never done anything like that before. I wasn't even a lifeguard anywhere before, so.
Dude, that's awesome.
But getting to go to an air station straight out of boot camp was really, I worked, as a non-rate in the shop and did all that stuff. And we just sat there and watched the helicopters all day, hoping that one day we're going to make it over to the hangar,
Yes.
So. Grew to like it, grew to seeing what those guys were doing on a daily basis up there. I mean, that was a time when they were doing medevacs on a daily basis out of the islands up there. And, my first day checking into the unit, I'll never forget. It was SAR tones and, put the ready helos on the line. And I was like, I thought it was the ready helo. They always say the ready helo, but it was the ready helos because they had a cruise ship aground up in Alaska. And it was just like, all hands on deck, everybody's there. They're pulling multiple birds out of the hangar and coordinating this massive, what could have been a huge rescue, effort. And it's like, yeah, I think this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Where do I sign up for that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God.
So, saw all that go down, and I was lucky enough to be with quite a few guys who are currently swimmers or have been swimmers as non-rates. And we all trained together, went to the pool every day, worked out every day. I think we used to brag that Sitka was the hardest airman program, but I think everybody said that. But, at the time it was.
I would agree with you with that because I thought U-City was pretty tough myself. I mean, it's all relative. You know what? When I had airmen underneath me, I kicked the shit out of them too. But whatever, they made it, so there ain't nothing wrong with that. Gosh, that's awesome. All right, so now you once you get through A school, you said you went back to Sitka.
Yeah, so I was married to Leanne at the time when I left for A school, and she was stationed in Sitka. So it was the easiest option.
Sweet.
We waited on that infamous day of picks,
Yeah.
and at that time, that was my first class. I got rephased, passed my second go around, got rephased at the 16-week mark. So
Ooh.
basically, did it twice, which was fun. But so picks come out and they just said, "Hey, you're going back to Sitka." So,
Well, let's back up to that story. What happened
yeah.
there? Nah, you know what? Okay, we won't talk about it. That's okay.
No, we can talk about it. It's all right. Final multi got me. So, yeah, washed out in the final multi, and went to my board that weekend. And Monday morning, I had the black letters back on my shirt and was starting again with the baby class. So,
Oh man.
yeah, I got a weekend break.
Dude, I feel for you. Although I will tell you, you went in there stronger than anybody else in the baby class. So I don't know if that's a bonus or the fact that you have to go through that entire thing again.
Yeah,
Lord knows
that
I was
was
not doing that twice. I did it once,
well,
and I was like, yeah.
It was better than the other option, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you think about it and you say it like that, there was no doubt I was not going to make it through, even if I had to go through again. But wow,
Totally.
man.
Yeah.
Damn, through swimmer school twice. Well, good for you, my friend. Well done.
Yeah. So yeah, I did about 2 years back in Alaska before I transferred out. So
then your first case would have been in Alaska.
Yep.
And what was that?
First case was, well, so there's the heartache of the first case that I should have had, but I got bumped off the duty roster. And I remember Sean Legis I think it was Sean, got 3 back-to-back cases in one day, which is, I mean, that's kind of unheard of, right? And that was supposed to be my first duty night, but instead I came in the next day and got a pretty decent medevac. So,
all right, we're gonna hold off right there because I want you to know that Sean Legis is in my class. So I love Sean Legis. All right.
All right, we'll give it to him.
Okay, I appreciate that.
We'll give it to him. But yeah, so a medevac out of one of the villages. Not a lot up there, no runway, minimal emergency response for the village, and it was a guy that had fallen off a roof. The roofing material had fallen onto him, crushed his pelvis, severe internal bleeding.
Oh.
And I mean, that was one of my first patient contacts as an EMT intermediate up there. So myself and a corpsman, and medevaced him out to Juneau and straight onto the Guardian Life flight to go to Seattle. So he was that critical. So
let's get into this one then, because all right. So did you guys land or end up hoisting?
Land. So we landed on, I want to say, like a ferry terminal pier.
Oh, no way.
And and then from there, up there, it was, you were lucky if you had, some 1980s ambulance that would take you to the scene or take you to the clinic or whatever. Most of the time it was a snowmobile or some pickup truck or something like that. So I think we got an ambulance on that one, but
man, I can relate to that because one of my cases I landed on, we ended up taking a 4-wheeler to the guy. I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yep.
Dude, that's
in the
awesome.
snow. Yeah.
So now how far away was the patient from where you guys had landed?
It was probably a 15-20 minute drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was in like a small clinic on the island somewhere. Okay.
So somebody had already been taken care of. You guys didn't show up on scene and him still being crushed and all that stuff.
Yeah, no. So he was,
yeah,
moderately taken care of by their EMS there. And one of the things that really was just crazy was walking into the clinic. It's my first time seeing a real critical patient, one of my first patient contacts, by myself. And you walk into this room, with that presence of the rescue swimmer, the Coast Guard, they all know you up there and all that stuff. And I remember the room got silent and everybody looked at me and I was thinking, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I don't know. I don't know any better than you guys, I'm here to take them away. That's all.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yep.
All right. Well, now I want to get into a couple other ones. So the first one, oh, no. The first one I want to get into is which I absolutely love. So, by the way, I did Google your name for quite a bit because I know you have some good ones out there. So, we're going to talk about two specifically. The first one is the father and son, and that was in 2011, according to this article. And then we're going to talk about your one in 2014, which I believe the case was in 2014 as well. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
All right. So let's start with this one because, like I said, you Google Brett Bates rescue swimmer and a whole bunch of stuff pops up on you because you're a badass and I love it. So let me read this one and then we're going to get into it. All right.
All right.
So this was, let's see, Coast Guard news. Coast Guard rescues father, son from Galveston, Texas on Father's Day. Houston, Texas. The Coast Guard rescued a father and a son and after their boat capsized off the Galveston Bay coast. Approximately 10 a.m., an MH-65 Dolphin, which is the helicopter, the 65, and the crew of the Coast Guard Air Station Houston was on a routine patrol when they spotted an overturned 18-foot pleasure craft about a mile north of Eagle Point in Galveston Bay. The Dolphin helicopter crew conducted a search of the area and located a cooler and a gas tank floating in the vicinity of the old overturned boat. Following the small debris field, the Dolphin crew spotted one person in the water, Robert Rasmussen. I'm going to go with that. Robert Rasmussen, age 34, from Houston, was safely hoisted into the cabin of the Dolphin helicopter. He notified the Coast Guard that his father was still in the water. The Dolphin crew continued to search and located the Good Samaritan, who had also arrived on scene and picked up the father, Richard Rasmussen, age 59, from San Leon. The Dolphin crew then hoisted the father into the helicopter and transported both the father and the son to Air Station Houston, where EMS crews were waiting to evaluate the men. We were in the right place at the right time, said Petty Officer 3rd Class Brett Bates at Air Station Houston, rescue swimmer. When we hoisted the father and son, they both had their life jackets on. They notified us that they had been in the water for over 2 hours. Having those life jackets on saved their lives, he said. Well, hot dog, man. Good for you. So give me a rundown of this case. So you guys are on a regular patrol, like a training flight or patrol?
So I want to say, it was just a routine patrol, and I think it was a weekend. I guess Father's Day would be, right? So it was, So routine patrol on Father's Day, and we get airborne. We're, minutes off the base, really, once we're over the water there and just in the bay. And we start having trouble with the avionics in the helo. So flight mechanic, pilots, they've got the whole avionics panel off, next to our seat back there in the 65, and they're troubleshooting this avionics thing.
While you're flying.
While we're flying, they're troubleshooting the whole thing, right?
So nobody's really paying attention to anything on the outside.
Nobody's really paying attention. It's flying itself. What I said I would do, coming from the 60 background, I said, hey, why don't I take radio comms? I'll sit in your seat and I'll run the radios while you guys troubleshoot this. So I'm sitting in the flight mech seat.
Real quick, for all of intensive purposes and learning in this, as a Coast Guard rescue swimmer in the H-60 in the Blackhawk, we sit in the back left-hand seat and we run the radios as swimmers, talking to communication towers, giving updates of position. In the 65, that's the flight mech's job, and he's sitting in the swivel seat that's up by the radios by the pilot, and then the swimmer is in the back on the floor on this little 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot mat. But so Brett coming from the 60s, I get that. Me coming from the 60s out of Alaska, we run radios all the time. Jump into 65, it's like, yeah, I'll run radios. Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yes. So no big deal. I take a seat, I take over comms, and I'm just the literally the one head looking out the windows, scanning, just looking around, trying to back everybody up while we're troubleshooting this thing. And I see essentially just a little John boat, and it's capsized and there's some debris around it. So it doesn't look like a derelict boat. It doesn't look like it, broke free from somewhere.
Right.
Immediately, I just gave the mark, mark, mark. They pushed the button. What you got? And I told them, I said, there's a boat back there. I think we should take a look at it. So we kind of tie up some loose ends. We come around. Sure enough, we see exactly what I saw: John boat, fuel cans, cooler, all that kind of stuff, just some debris floating in the water. And radioed into sector. They've got no reports of anything. And we're like, all right, well, we'll take a look around. We just started doing an expanding search from there. And fairly quickly, we located, it was actually the father we located first, just free floating in the water with a life jacket on.
Okay.
And we were still going through all the loons tied up at that point. So I made one final radio to sector. We got a person in the water, this location, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, getting changed out, getting my fins, getting all that stuff.
Yeah,
swap
boy.
with the flight mech. Yeah.
Going to
swap
the water
with the flight mech. And we start getting through the hoist briefs and whatnot. And the funny thing that I remember from that was after radioing it into sector, they came back with a Roger that, you have permission to hoist the survivor. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks for the permission, sector. But
yeah, that decision was already checked off.
Yeah, I was probably halfway out the door by the time they said that. But
thank you, sector.
So get down. Only probably my second time being deployed to the water on an actual case.
Nice.
This one was, so which is, a pretty big day for all of us, right?
Yeah.
You remember those first few going down to the water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And talk to the dad, who are you with? Me and my son, we got separated. And I'm like, how long have you been in the water? And he said the last time he looked at his watch or his phone that was in a Ziploc bag that was soaked with water and the phone was no longer working, was about 7:30 in the morning. So 2 to 3 hours they'd been in the water.
Wow.
And he said, we thought we could swim to shore. And we're like, I'm like, man, you're way closer to your boat than you are to shore, and you've been going for 2.5 hours. So
holy cow.
He was pretty tired. Basket hoisted him up. And then the civilian boat came up that had the son on board. He was in his mid-30s. And I swam over there, went and talked to them, and come to find out the son was a diabetic. And he was starting to get into the diabetic emergency. He was feeling weak, kind of disoriented, not making sense. So I opted, take him in the water with me, hoist him. I can at least get some glucose on board for him. And we can go from there and get these guys some medical treatment, which come to find out was a little bit of an issue for the pilots. I hadn't really figured out the whole 65 thing yet with the weight issues and all that. And I guess it caused a little bit of stress up in the bird when I jumped in the water and signaled for the basket. And they were like, I don't know if we got the weight for this, but
wow.
we made it work. So
the 65 does not have the power that the 60 has. And when you come from the 60 world into the 65 world, it's like, oh yeah, we're dumping fuel to make sure we have enough power to pull people up. It's a different like mindset reality. So
yeah.
Anyway,
so,
sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, that's all it was. Got them both hoisted, got some vital signs on the son, gave him a tube of the oral glucose, and he perked right up. So
nice.
All good. Got to use a little bit of swimmer skills, a little bit of the EMT skills. Checked them out when we got back to base. They refused treatment, found a ride home, and that was the end of it. But kind of the happy story, father and son, Father's Day, right place at the right time. They would never have been able to call it in or anything like that. So that was one of those ones that worked out great. So
well done, sir. Man, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, dude. So now I want to go into the second one not your second one, but the second one that I looked up, and this is the one that popped on. So you and I share a similar award, which I'm psyched that I share this with you because you earned Coast Guardsman of the Year by the USO, or I should say USO Coast Guardsman of the Year for 2014 for one of your rescues, and that's pretty awesome. That's a big award. So well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So as I was Googling you, this is what popped up. So it was coastguard.dodlive.mil. And I'm going to read this one, and then I want to get into it even more, just like we did with the last one. All right.
All right.
All right. So Coast Guard, Coast Guard Compass. All right. Honor, respect, devotion, and duty. AST3 Brett Bates. And this is dated October 31st, 2014. So others may live. It's the creed of the United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer and the promise that the Coast Guard makes to those in danger. It's also the motto that Petty Officer Third Class Brett Bates lives by. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I like that. I'm just saying. Bates, a competitive swimmer most of his life, joined the Coast Guard in 2007, looking for a way to put his skills into use and help others. By becoming an aviation survival technician, for those of you that don't know, that is our rating. That's what we call a rescue swimmer, but the rating actual name is Aviation Survival Technician, or AST. He was able to do just that. After graduating basic training, Bates reported to Sitka, Alaska, where he was given the opportunity to train alongside the Coast Guard aviation crew and work towards his dream. He went on to graduate from Aviation Survival Technician A School and served 2 years at Air Station Sitka before reporting to Air Station Houston. It was at Air Station Houston that Bates experienced one of the most memorable rescues. One morning before the crew awoke to begin their day, a search and rescue alarm sounded throughout the base. As Bates prepared the launch alongside the rest of his aircrew, which consisted of Commander Eric Gleason, Lieutenant Brian Seacats. Is that right?
Seacats.
Oh, Seacats. So Lieutenant Brian Seacats and Petty Officer Tyson St. John. He began learning the details of the case that he was preparing for. The Coast Guard HU-25 Falcon, which is an aircraft, it's a fixed-wing aircraft, it's a little jet that they launch out of, they launched
Corpus
that right
Christi.
out of Corpus Christi. Thank you.
Yeah.
So they launched that out of Corpus Christi to fly out to location because it'll get there faster than the 65. They do a recon, maybe drop rafts or whatnot. So anyway, the Coast Guard HU-25 Falcon had located an emergency position radio beacon and some debris in the water more than 100 miles offshore. The Falcon also located a life raft with at least one man on board, but was unable to ascertain if there was any more people in the water or the raft. The aircrew from Air Station Houston launched the MH-65D Dolphin helicopter at approximately 6 a.m. and was on scene approximately 45 minutes later. We arrived on scene and found the life raft almost immediately, Bates said. And although his training had prepared him for almost anything, Bates faced a challenging rescue. Gleason, the pilot that morning, and the commanding officer at Air Station Houston estimated the seas to be 10 to 12 feet and the wind gust up to 40 knots. He said the weather they had experienced that morning was significant for what they normally experienced in the Gulf of Mexico. Bates was deployed into the water and was able to fight through the challenging weather condition to reach the raft. When I reached the raft, there was only one guy there, he said. I questioned him about what happened, how he was doing, and how long he had been there. The man told Bates that around 3 a.m. that morning, their boat had taken a rogue wave, broken apart, and sank within minutes. The man also told Bates that the original crew of the boat consisted of 4 men. He was the only guy that was able to make it into the raft, Bates said. Another important aspect of Bates' training allowed him to quickly assess the man's medical condition and determine his condition. He was mildly hypothermic and had been in the water for about 4 hours. The man also didn't have any protection against the elements. He was wearing minimal clothing and no life jacket. Although they're dialogued, Bates continually was swept away by the wind and waves. But even with the weather conditions, Bates made a decision. Take the man in the water with him and get him to the helicopter to be hoisted aboard. Once Bates and the man were back in the helicopter, Bates was told another crucial decision. The helicopter was extremely low on fuel. Gleason asked Bates to make a determination if the man needed immediate medical attention or if time allowed for the helicopter to refuel and continue the searching for other possible survivors. Bates decided the man did not need further immediate medical attention and that he would be much better once he was put in a warmer environment. The crew took the man to the nearest oil rig and, after refueling, left the man with the oil rig personnel with strict instructions to contact them if his condition changed. The crew continued searching for 6 hours for additional crew members of the sunken vessel, but found no signs of any other survivors. After completing the search, the crew picked up the man from the rig and returned to the air station. As a result of Bates' extraordinary efforts during the rescue, he was recently selected as the 2014 USO Coast Guardsman of the Year and was honored with a ceremony with members of other armed services in Washington, D.C. Brett, dude, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, first question.
It was a fun one. It was memorable.
I have no doubt. So what, now you got an award from that, and I say got an award, you earned an award that the Coast Guard presented to you. What was that?
It was an achievement medal.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I was given an achievement medal for that one.
Man, that's awesome. Good. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean,
give me the play-by-play, dude. That's crazy.
So standard, EPIRB on a stormy night / morning, cold front move through, just nasty winds all night at the base. Prior night's training flight was canceled. And we'd actually had to take a flight mechanic off a night shift that night to stand the ready. So kind of a mix of players there. You're flying with the CO, so that's always kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He was
the CO is the commanding officer of the air station, so he's the guy in charge of everybody.
He's the guy in charge.
Yeah, the fact that he's even coming in for duty is like hats off to him. Good for him. That's a good leader.
Yeah, highly respectable. That he's actually standing duty as the commanding officer. He was in the left seat that day, co-pilot seat, and Lieutenant Seacats was in the pilot seat, although Gleason was the aircraft commander. And so the EPIRB call, right, is kind of the nothing, right?
Yeah.
I don't even want to get out of bed for this, right? Like come on,
it's a freaking search through the damn bay or blah blah blah. Another one of those.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, and this one happened to be over 150 miles offshore. But so after getting airborne, come to find out the Falcon had actually located a life raft. They were launched way before us, just given the weather conditions and the distance offshore. With the 65 out in the Gulf, you're bouncing from oil rig to oil rig, refueling, especially at that distance. So it's a lot harder of a thing to do. So they sent the Falcon up ahead. It did a raft with a survivor, and that's when we got launched. We had, at that time of the morning, we had just some hellacious tailwinds and made it out there pretty quick. We were nice. With the tailwind the whole way, so smooth ride out there. We were moving fast.
That's always a good thing when you're on your way there. It's terrible when you're coming back.
Yes, it is, especially after you've been searching for 6 hours.
Yeah. Holy cow.
So,
so it said that you guys, it was about 45-minute flight out there.
Yeah.
Man, 100.
Yeah. I mean, it was a long way, and less than an hour probably that we were out there. Plenty of fuel because we had that tailwind the whole way.
Yeah.
And immediately, debris fueled life raft, somebody in the life raft. I'm going in the water. There was just no question about it. Right. So the pilot was a little junior, I'll say, and going through his checklist, trying to do everything by the book.
Nice.
And I remember the CO saying, "Put this thing in the hover, put the swimmer in the water."
Nice.
And that's how it happened. It was. I mean, the flight mech Tyson was a great guy. I'd had a lot of cases with him. He was ready in the back, had everything set up, and he was ready to go. So we just came right into a hover. It was a hoist to the water because it was still early morning or nighttime, I believe, at that time.
So you're coming into sunrise.
And it was dry. Yeah, sunrise. So still dry suit weather. I was in a dry suit at the time, and made my way over to the raft. And it was, I mean, we've all been to advanced school where you swim in the big waves and things like that. But when you put some distance between you and the raft, you know, you're working, right?
Yeah.
So, got to the raft, one guy in there, you know, I talked to him. We knew there was a report of, I believe it was like 5 POB on the boat. You know, so him and 4 others, I believe.
So POB stands for persons on board.
Honestly, yeah. So he was distraught, right? He was, you know, he was the only guy in the life raft. He was the only guy that had made it out of the boat or into the raft, right? So the report was they were tied off to an oil rig. They were sleeping through the night and they took a rogue wave. And I mean, I believe this was like a 40-foot boat. It was a snapper boat. So they were out trolling for snapper. And it just, he said the boat was gone in, you know, 90 seconds or less. They were in the water, broke apart, life raft popped up, no life jackets, no time to prepare. It was just gone.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So it was, you know, they went through quite a bit. He said he got in the raft. He could hear the other guys. They were, you know, very far apart. You know, the buoy readings for that morning, you know, they were having 20 foot plus, you know, routinely, as that cold front moved through out there. It probably died down a little by our time. And then it was, you know, so 15 foot plus rollers rolling through, with at least 5 to 8, you know, crashing on top of that with the wind and everything like that. So, it took a little bit of effort, and, just talking to the guy, you know, occasionally I'd let go of the raft, make a radio call, you know, whatever, and find myself separated from the raft again, you know. So it was a constant back and forth, a swimming back and forth, and finally, you know, he was hypothermic. He was in his underwear, you know, that's what he was sleeping in, and that's what he made it out with. So I told him, you know, it's going to suck, but I got to bring you in the water with me.
Wow.
So brought him in the water. And then it was, you know, some of that stuff you learned in all the trainings and things like that of watching the seas, which way you're swimming, and you know, so on and so forth.
Right.
So hoisted him, basket hoist into the helicopter, went back, popped the life raft. And that was the only one time in my career I can remember popping the raft, watching it sink, waiting on the helicopter to come pick me up, and just that helpless feeling of it's just you 150 miles out there in the water. And if for some reason they don't make this hoist, my night's gonna suck.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I remember that as I watched the raft sink and I waited to be picked up, that it was like that feeling finally of I'm out here by myself, you know. So kind of weird. Get hoisted up, all's good.
Oh my God.
But you know, 65, we're critical on fuel
all the time.
You know, we don't have a lot left. We need to find an oil rig, guy back, or we need to decide what we're doing, right? So yeah, you're worried about fuel the minute you take off in those silly things. But that was the decision is hey, Baith, tell us, what are we doing? Are we going back? It's kind of a balance of, well, this will be the only viable period for these guys. You know, it's cold. They've been in the water for 3 to 4 hours. If they have some sort of flotation, they got on some debris, they got life jackets. If we go home and take this guy back, nobody else is coming back out here for 2+ hours. You know, by the time Chris gets a bird, New Orleans gets a bird, so that part of my decision making of how high, and did all his assessment on him, talked to him, and said, let's take him to a rig. I feel comfortable leaving him there. So we did that. Too. We landed for fuel. yeah, wanted to give everybody else the best shot, if we could. So,
well, and you're
dropped them
right.
off, gave,
Go ahead.
I mean, it was, it was a terrible position to be put in
Yeah.
after just coming out of the water and getting your ass handed to you in some waves,
Yeah.
trying to do an assessment on this guy, because that's part of our job too, is we're the only medical,
Right.
person out there. Your flight mech, your pilots, nobody else is helping with that part. They feel like their job is done when the hoist is over, and our
Right.
job's
Totally.
just starting, right? So yeah, so we were able to drop him off, just let him know, like, hey, if this guy goes downhill, if he gets confused, if he doesn't warm up, if you have any concerns, you will come back and pick him up,
Yeah.
So we dropped him off, they warmed him up, we did our search, a couple bags of gas. By that time, they were getting more crews out there to start helping with the search.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And yeah, I know we sent one more, and I think Corpus Christi ended up sending another bird. So it was actually a pretty large search, given that one guy had made it and there was supposed to be 4 more.
Yeah. Wow.
But we did our too tough. When we picked that guy back up, and I had to tell him, no, we haven't found anybody. No.
Oh, that's tough.
Your friends, the guys you were on the boat with, nobody's seen them. And just for that guy, I mean, just now we're going into a headwind, and you got an hour and a half bumpy flight back, and dealing with this, and it was a pretty somber flight back, I remember.
Dang, man.
Yeah, of course you land, and by that time that the camera crews are there, and everybody wants to talk to him and talk to you, and just trying to do what was best for that guy was really the big thing. But yeah, I mean, probably, the first time that, you put everything, the big package, you put it all together, the skills, the advanced school, all those things. And get to see some big waves, get to do the job that you signed up for, that you trained for, so yeah, it was good. For me, it was good. Unfortunately, I got to do that, but
wow. Dude, great story. Great
positive
story.
And negative outcomes there. They never found anybody.
Yeah. So. It's part of our job, though. It
was a good one, but
you try to do everything you can to save everybody you can, and it just doesn't happen. So
yeah, and at least we know that we didn't leave any unknown table. We gave them the best shot. We continued searching for the survivor. Was a positive one as far as he survived. Wasn't super critical or anything like that, and we did our job. So
yeah, well, good job at that. I mean, that's awesome. Now you mentioned you were in a dry suit. So the fact you were in a dry suit, the water is pretty cold, and those guys are in shorts and t-shirts. I mean, hypothermia is setting in very quickly. And as soon as you get hypothermic, I mean, you and I both know you're in cold water, and all of a sudden your extremities don't work anymore. So there's no treading water for 30, 40 minutes in cold water. You can,
no,
it's a hard thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was he was the classic, balled up, that kind of the person you're towing through the water, where he's just got his weight centered right over you, because he's so cold. He's got the arms together, the legs up, and all that weight's just right on you, trying to tow him through the water. So not the nice floating survivor with a life jacket, some control of him, and
wow. Damn, man, that is awesome. That is awesome.
You still there, Jason? I think I lost you.
Yeah, you did for a second. That's okay, dude. That's awesome. Well done. Well done, for sure. Man,
thank you.
Yeah, heck yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Houston was SAR town for me, man. We got a lot of calls in Houston. So
anything else that stands out to you?
I mean, I just had like quite a few deployments to the water, starting from when I checked in. I had a family get swept off a beach, and that was within days of checking in, deployed to the water, the father and son. It was for a while, it was just nonstop. And then you mixed it in medevacs. I did medevacs north of the city where we were hoisting through the trees and things like that. So,
Wow.
got to do a lot of different things. I believe you and I were on the oil rig fire together. Weren't you on that with
For
Priority
the
One?
Deepwater Horizon?
No, the one after that. Were you
Yes,
on that one?
I was.
Yes. So we were first on scene.
Yep.
And it was like 13 people in the water. They ended up getting picked up by a boat. I did some triage on the oil rig. We took 3, and then you guys in your AW 139 came in and took like the next 10. But I was working with
Yes, we
Jason
did.
Quinn and the legendary Bob Watson were on that helicopter. So
that is correct. That is correct. Gosh,
yeah,
I almost forgot about that one.
early on for you guys. I remember.
Yeah, that was right when we get started down there in the Gulf of Mexico. It was with Era Helicopters and Priority One Year Rescue, and we merged
Was
together.
that even before you guys? It might have been before you guys were even hoisting.
Yeah, we were hoisting, but we were not in Galveston yet. So we actually flew out of Louisiana to get there, and we flew out on scene. You guys had come in and done your assessment and whatnot, and I remember, coming over the radio like, yeah, we don't need anybody else. We got other 65s coming, and then our pilot comes out. I was like, yeah, we can take like 12 people, and they're like, Era, stand by. Yeah, we need you to come in and pick these guys up. And I was like, yeah.
And then we had to ask you guys to slow down on the way back into the hospital because we were so critical on fuel that we needed to land first. That helicopter was amazing.
Dude, that is so funny. I totally forgot about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like our worlds just collide all the time. It's beautiful.
It did.
God.
Good stuff.
Dang. Well, I'll tell you what, Brett, I don't want to take too much more of your time. So my last question will be, is there anything that you would tell anybody out there now, advice or anything like that? The floor is yours. So speak freely.
Man, you just got to go for it, right? Like, don't hesitate. If that's what you want to do, work towards it, work hard. I've seen guys from my swimming background come in and struggle in school, as I did. And, guys that have never even swam or seen the ocean before come in and crush it. You know what I mean? So big mindset getting through it. But the reward is definitely there when you come out on the other end. So any of those guys that are aspiring to do it, go for it.
Got it out.
That's what you got to do.
Awesome.
Get it done.
And what about the fire department? Any advice on the fire department? And have you actually had any rescues with the fire department?
Yes, I've actually, couple things, and thinking here where I am now, coming out of what I did before, I've been humbled a few times in this job,
come on. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I 3-4 years ago, I pulled a guy out of a car, or attempted to pull a guy out of a car that had been involved in a single accident, fully involved, patient still conscious and alert inside the vehicle.
Holy cow.
And I went in while the car was still on fire to pull him out. While somebody else was working on extinguishing it. And unfortunately, he was pinned. So I tried to pull, couldn't get him out until we got the fire out and were able to do a full extrication on the car. I mean, that's how stuck he was. And just severe burns, fractures, the whole nine, and conscious the whole time. And I remember walking away from that one going, that was just as gnarly as any SAR case I've ever had,
Holy
and that
cow.
was, yeah. So things like that.
Did you save that guy? Did he live?
Yeah, he lived. Yes.
No shit.
He lived. So
freaking well, dude, you were born for this job. Holy cow.
But this job, just like the Coast Guard, it's got a way of humbling you, So
agreed.
You'll find yourself in a peculiar situation. You do training all day long. You run what we'd call routine calls, and then one day shit hits the fan. And
I totally agreed.
Yeah. Lot more people backing you up here, though.
Oh yeah, because you got a full crew going out. That's how many guys are on the truck with you?
So this station I'm at is 5 guys. We run 2 different rigs out of here. But I mean, your next cruise 5 minutes away, 3 minutes away, so when we get something big, we're stacked on top of each other. Plenty of paramedics to go around. I did find myself the other night working on multiple burn patients after a structure fire for a few minutes by myself. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was another one, here you are, have at it.
Holy cow. I'm going to touch on something real quick. And what you just said there is we get humbled quite often. I can't agree with you more. And, that's another reason why I'm doing this podcast, is because most of us are very humble. I don't gloat about a bunch of my cases. As a matter of fact, it took me 5 years to talk to my wife about what I did in the Coast Guard. And that's not an exaggeration. It was 5 years. She didn't know anything. And, when I was texting you, and I've texted some of the other guys, I'm like, hey, can you send me some of your award stuff and this, that, and most of the comments that I get back are like, dude, they're in a box somewhere. And that's me too. They're sitting in a box in the garage or in the attic. And we just, because it's what we do. And I love that about what we do, because we are humble about it. We're not trying to get a big pat on the back. We're proud of what we do, and we're ready to go back and do it tomorrow when it's needed. Yeah. And it's awesome. So, well,
and too, I mean, was my case in Houston the biggest case in the Coast Guard that year? Absolutely not. It came from a good write-up from, some senior officers and things like that, and worked its way up. But, we know that about each other. There was somebody else who probably had an absolutely horrible case, with bigger C's and more patients and whatever. And, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to say, I just got to be the face on that one, for us, great experience. But
hey, don't cut yourself short though. You earned that. That's a good case.
But the guy, we know the guys are out there doing it every day.
Yep.
Every day they're out there doing it with little to no recognition.
Right.
Most of the people I talk to here don't realize how much the Coast Guard does on a daily basis.
Right.
And we work with the Coast Guard routinely. So,
which I saw that in another write-up, by the way, in another link that has your name on it.
Yep.
That's awesome. Dang, Brett. Well, dude, I will not keep any more of your time. I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing these stories with us. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, you're a badass, dude. I can't wait to get together with you again and just hang out, dude. Maybe we'll get on the boat.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
Come on.
Awesome. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are out of here. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute, and as my daughters like to tell me all the time, like and subscribe. Oh yeah, I appreciate it. So I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story and would be willing to share it, I would be humbled and honored to have you as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else here that we talk about, please send me an email at therealresq@gmail.com. That's TheRealResQ@gmail.com. Or you can also check us out on our Instagram page at The Real ResQ, and that's at TheRealResQ. And for all of you standing the watch today, remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, stay safe out there, everybody.